Lamine Yamal was one of the biggest sensations of Euro 2024 as Spain beat England in one of the most hyped-up finals ever. He turned 17 just the day before the biggest event in his professional career, so if he'd scored in the finals, that would have made him the youngest player to ever do so. Yamal has already reached a certain level of greatness many never do, but the question arises, was all of this a result of talent and effort, or did fate intervene? If you haven't seen it already, there's a picture going viral on the internet. Nothing special about it, you'd probably think at first. It's just Messi playing with the baby, a standard UNICEF campaign. Well, it's more than that. The baby in the picture is none other than Yamal, which is enough to give you goosebumps and make you ask the question, is it possible to transfer greatness by touch? Hello football fans, and welcome to Top Corner TV. We're a new channel with the goal of bringing you only the best football content. So, before we begin, hit that subscribe button and help us become better with every new video. In 2007, a charity calendar photo shoot was taking place in the dressing room of Camp Nou in Barcelona, where a young Lionel Messi posed for photos with a less than a year-old baby. Messi was only 20 at the time, but was already known as one of football's prodigies and projected to become one of the all-time greats. All the attention was on him, but little did everybody know that 17 years later, that baby would also become one of the most talked about football players in the world. The baby inside the bathing tub was Lamine Yamal, a 17-year-old rising star who has made Europe fall in love with his game. The goal he scored against the French in the Euro 2024 semis will be engraved in football's history forever. Not only did it help Spain advance past their longtime rivals, but it also made him the youngest player ever to score in the history of this tournament. Once everyone started buzzing about Yamal, the image went viral as his dad posted it on Instagram, captioning it with, "The beginning of two legends." The picture was made for one of UNICEF's campaigns, and the baby was selected randomly through a lottery set in the place called Mataró, a hometown of Lamine's family. Joan Montfort, who was in charge of the photography team on the project, went through his memories to tell the story of how Messi and Lamine both acted that day. In an interview for the Associated Press, he stated that Messi seemed very introverted upon their meeting, but he was down to earth enough to help him complete the task as best as he could. It was funny seeing Messi struggle with the baby, he said. On one hand, you have a guy who's fearless when he's playing against Europe's most elite defenders, but on the other hand, he was so uncomfortable trying to find the right way to hold the baby. It was tough for him at first, but he got through and did a perfect job. The commentary of the chief photographer was really nice, but has Messi responded to this ultra-viral post? Unfortunately, not yet. It would be funny to see Messi's reaction to this picture, as he'd probably also enjoy getting reminded of the earliest days of his career. Back then, he was still in his rising stage, learning from players like Ronaldinho and Thierry Henry. He was yet to become the magician we'd see later and win all those La Ligas, Copa del Reys, and Champions League trophies. When Messi was 16, there was also a lot of hype around his game, but it's hard to compare it just by looking at today's numbers, since there was no social media back then. Imagine how many shares and likes would any of Messi's masterpieces receive if he was 16 in the modern era. The internet would probably go crazy. The main difference in their youth years was that Messi had more appearances and chances to become productive before stepping up for the first team of Barcelona. He played 32 matches and scored 11 goals, while Yamal had only one real game with the B squad before putting on the iconic jersey on his back. This fact can be interpreted in a way that Barcelona had so much faith in Yamal that they didn't want to wait for him to play around with anything less than elite competition and were willing to take all the risks necessary. Given how his career has turned out so far, it's fair to say they've made the right decision. For comparison, Messi was also 2 years older when he made a debut for Argentina and, interestingly, managed to earn a red card. Luckily, that's something Yamal still hasn't done when it comes to the national team. Yamal's character is actually humble, and he seems to be doing great at managing the fame that struck him at such a young age. To gain the right perception of how young he is, you should know that he passed some of his school exams while being in Germany for Euro 2024. How crazy is that? While we're in Germany, its laws state that people under the age of 18 are not allowed to work after 8 p.m. What does that have to do with Yamal, you ask? Well, as a 17-year-old, he falls into that category, with an exception being made for athletes pushing the limit to 11 p.m. One of the reasons he got subbed earlier against Croatia, Italy, and Albania was that the Spanish Football Association could avoid the fine if he stayed on the pitch beyond the allowed time. The fine is approximately 30,000 euros, so even if the final match stretched out past that, Spain would have been more than willing to pay if it meant keeping Yamal in the game. Luckily, there was no need for it. Now that Spain has won Euro 2024, Yamal's stock will go through the roof. He's currently under contract with Barcelona until 2026 and will earn around 3.5 million euros. But what makes his status within the club special is the 1 billion buyout clause. All because Blaugrana wanted to avoid making the same mistake like they did with Neymar in 2017. If you don't remember, here's what happened. The buyout clause for Neymar was a whopping 222 million euros, so Barcelona's front office thought he was something of an immovable object. However, the Sheiks owning Paris Saint-Germain had different plans. They threw money at Neymar like it was nothing and said, "Keep the change." It was an ultimate power move that made Barcelona almost paranoid when it comes to their future prospect, thus making the buyout clause insanely large. There are reports saying Barcelona has already turned down multiple offers from Qatar that were between 200 and 300 million euros, which is no surprise how much Yamal could be worth in the future. Deco, who is one of the club's legends and a current sporting director of Barcelona, has expressed his intentions about re-signing Yamal in 2025 once he turns 18 years old, and that he has hopes for the kid to wear Catalonian colors for a long time. It'll be very interesting to see the development of Yamal's career, especially now that he's been compared to all-time greats like Messi. Messi has stayed in Barcelona for almost his entire career, so making the same type of projection on him would be just too much at this point. Also, Messi had got to PSG way past his prime, but in Yamal's case, there's no doubt they will pursue him way before that. If he manages to keep his body healthy on the highest level, we might be talking about 20+ years of elite football for Yamal. Imagine how many potential trophies and individual awards are there to be claimed if all the stars aligned in his favor. People might say, what are the odds for that? But what are the odds that his parents would be the ones picked at the UNICEF lottery, and that the kid who was supposed to be just another face on the poster is now the center of the football universe? If Yamal seems to be good at something, it's beating the odds and breaking records. So, we'll have plenty to talk about for many years to come. That's it for today, dear friends. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Yamal's future with Barcelona and what you think of the Euro 2024 final game. Thank you for watching and sticking out with us until the end. Make sure you don't miss out on more football stories by hitting that subscribe button. See you in the next one.